You're listening to Taboo Transmission, unfiltered conversations on grief, awakening, and shadow work. I'm your host, Holly Faye. I don't have the answers, but I've lived the questions. Every episode, I share raw stories, unspoken truths, and the messy middle of rebuilding a life that actually fits. This isn't performative healing, it's transmission. Let's get into it. Welcome to Taboo Transmission, a podcast where we speak the truths that don't usually get spoken out loud, the ones that change us, the ones that break us open. This first episode is raw. It's not perfectly produced or heavily edited. Honestly, it's hardly edited at all, and that is partly intentional and partly tech issues. But I wanted to begin by honoring the truth of how this podcast came to be. Not the branded version, not the polished one, the real one. What you're about to hear is the original recording that I made back on July 2nd of this year, because that day is the birthday of someone I loved very deeply who passed away. Last year, on his birthday, I unknowingly moved out of the home that I had shared with my ex-fiance of 12 years. And it marked the first massive shift towards reclaiming myself. And this year I felt this soul deep pull to record. I knew I wanted to do something that he'd be proud of, something honest, something brave. And hitting record felt like the thing. Even though I was scared, even though I wasn't ready, I hit record anyway. I've carried this story for a long time. It's about grief, about identity, about love that didn't end even after death, and what happened when I stopped trying to contain or explain any of it. There's a part of me that's terrified to share this, because once I say it out loud, not just to the people close to me, but publicly, it becomes real in a different way. But the other part of me knows this is exactly the story that wanted to be told first. If you're here, I trust that you're meant to be. This isn't really the episode I thought that I'd record first, but it feels like the only honest place to start. I've been sitting with this idea of starting a podcast for literally years, and honestly, this is not the type of podcast I thought that I would actually be sitting down to record. When I first thought of having a podcast, I was thinking it would be more along the lines of coaching or personal development, entrepreneurial, achievement driven, because I was all of those things. I wasn't always spiritual. I was very logical, analytical, and achievement driven until I wasn't. And I'm still wrestling with what that even means. I'm still wrestling with who I actually am, or who I'm deciding to be. It's a strange place to be in, but honestly, I just feel like this has to come out. And it's not what my original idea was at all. I instead want this to be a space to talk about the things that cracked me open. The grief, spiritual awakening, twin flames, identity, creativity, the unexplainable, all the taboo topics that we're just apparently not supposed to touch, but I'm going to go ahead and touch them. And honestly, as I'm sitting down to record this today, of all days, it feels really fitting, because today is the birthday of a loved one that passed away in February of 2024, and basically was the catalyst for all of this transformation. And I think it just seems like a beautiful thing to actually hit record today and do that, to be able to honor him. So in February of 2024, someone I love died, and that is literally when everything broke open in me, around me, all of it. I am not even remotely close to the same person I was before that happened. I think that's mostly a good thing. It's still a little tricky trying to navigate who the heck I am now. It's still a process of figuring it out, but I mean, that's what we're all doing, right? We're all just figuring it out. But it wasn't just grief that hit me. It was like something literally ripped through the veil. Like, I was having so many crazy experiences. I honestly thought I was going crazy. And, you know, who knows? Maybe I did. Maybe I am. I don't know. I guess you can be the judge. But yeah, I had so many experiences that, like, my past self would have just rolled her eyes at, or just straight up not believed. I probably would have, I don't know what I would have said to myself if I was someone listening to what actually happened to me. But now that those things have happened, like, I can't unsee it. I can't unknow it. It changed me. But I want to be clear, like, this is not a podcast about being right. It's not about, like, spiritual, like, answers. I am not an expert by any means. I am just in it, is the best way I can describe it. But what this podcast is a place to explore the unspoken, to make room for the stories that we're too scared to say out loud. Because we think that no one else has lived them, or no one else will understand, or people will think we're crazy. And, you know, but I know I can't be the only one who has had things like this happen. So this is the podcast that I wished for, that I really wanted when I was going through a spiritual awakening, because it is not an easy thing to go through. Honestly, it sounded all well and good in my head. Like, a spiritual awakening sounds like, oh, you know, spiritual, nice. Oh my goodness gracious. It literally felt like I was going absolutely batshit. And I'm lucky enough to have had a couple of people in my life to, like, ground me during that whole process, because it changed by the hour, minute, I don't know. It was wild. I'll get into, like, sharing all of that, but I kind of just first wanted to give kind of an introduction of where the heck I'm coming from, what the heck I'm doing, even though I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is the space for the ones navigating the weird middle, after your old life crumbled, but before the new one has fully formed, because that is the exact place that I find myself in. And I'll talk about the things that have helped me along the way. Like, there's a lot of spiritual tools that have helped me: astrology, human design, yoga, shadow work, just to name a few. But again, I'm no expert. I'm just someone figuring it out in real time. I've had a million reasons not to do this. I've been so scared of doing this. And when it comes down to it, it's really that I'm actually scared of being seen. I'm scared of being misunderstood. I'm scared of hurting people who are still alive and are part of this story. But the thing is, the story wants to be told, not for attention, but for healing, for connection and truth. When I think about, like, sharing my story and actually speaking it out loud, that sounds terrifying to me. But I also want to be able to honor what everything has taught me, and, like, who it has brought me to, and, like, the things that have just been so incredibly deep and profound. Like, I can't even, it's so hard to put into words. As someone who's an aspiring writer, that's a difficult thing to admit, that you don't have the words for it. But sometimes I just don't. Everything that's transpired since February/March of 2024 until now has been incredibly heart-wrenching difficult, but also magical and beautiful. And like, there has been so much love that has come to me, and I've actually been able to fully be open and give love with like I have never before. And I owe all of that to the spiritual awakening and like what his death taught me. It taught me so much about myself. It taught me so much about others, about relationships in general. I think the biggest thing that it brought to me was faith. Like, it actually like solidified that, you know, life after death it was no longer a question in my mind. It was an absolute knowing. This podcast is going to be perfectly imperfect. I keep having to press pause on recording because there's actually construction going on outside my window, and like the bucket utility truck, whatever the heck it is, just keeps beeping every time they like raise and lower the bucket. So anyway, I digress. But so what was I saying? Once after his passing, I had so many experiences that just made life after death an absolute knowing in my being. And that is so wild to me, because let me tell you where I'm coming from. I was the girl that like, I wanted to have faith. I really did. Like, I wanted to believe in something, but I never felt like the real, like, true, like, it just never felt true. I used to get angry when people would say that they are praying for me. Like, I know how fucked up that is now. Like, that's so mean. Like, it's actually really nice of someone to say that they're praying for you. But like, I took it as like, I would be like, don't pray for me, I'm fine. Like, I don't need that shit. But yeah, that definitely changed everything. And also, simultaneously, while I was gaining my faith, I was also losing my religion, because I went to Catholic school when I was younger. Like, I was raised in a predominantly Catholic household. And I'm not trying to like shit on any of that or say it's wrong or anything, but it just never resonated for me. And like, there were a lot of things that you're not supposed to talk about or not supposed to do or touch. Like I guess even astrology is like considered like evil in some religions, and like I just, that and all the rules, I guess, just never resonated. And once things started happening, like, I knew without a shadow of a doubt, like, it was all from pure love. Like, it was not evil. And it got me more curious and had me starting to explore topics that I would have just shamed myself from ever looking into before. And it's just been such a journey. And some of the things that I mentioned, like, in the beginning of this, like, topics such as, like, twin flames and things like that, like, I had no idea, like, what that even was. Like, I thought twin flames was a cult, honestly, because my only exposure was this documentary I saw on Netflix, and that was it. But I'll get into how I actually came to realize the twin flame journey in a different episode. But I just kind of wanted to give a little context of why I'm starting this now, like, where the heck it's coming from, what I want this space to be, and just invite you in to come along with me. And like, if you're going through a spiritual awakening, I see you. I am with you. Like, I mean, if you ever need to talk to somebody, I'm here, because it's definitely a difficult thing to go through, especially if you're going through it feeling like you're absolutely alone. I think a lot of people are actually waking up now. I've had a lot of conversations that have been so surprising to me with people that I've worked with or just have known from like high school, and running into them. Like, it's weird. The more that I've like told people about my experiences and what went down, like, just expecting them to think I was nuts and being surprised that they were just so understanding and like didn't think it was crazy, but actually said they thought it was possible. And I don't know, like it's hard to wrap my mind around it, because I know that like my former self would have never believed it. I'm quite certain that the way that I came to realize all of it and like go through this, like through the like death of someone so important to me, like literally ripped my heart out and was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. But I also know that like I would have never believed it if I didn't come to it through the hardest way possible. I wish for once I would just like believe something and take it at face value and not have to learn it the hard way, but so far that doesn't seem to be how I operate. But I guess the point is that I did come to it. I did learn it. And I'm still learning things every day, all the time. My theories change. They change. Point blank period, I guess. That's it. And so, like, I don't really know where this is all going. I'm not even entirely sure what the next episode will be, but this is the start. And if you're here, I'm glad you are. And even if one person hears something here and feels less alone in what they're going through, then it matters. And I guess for the rest, we'll just have to see how it unfolds. What unfolds. Stay tuned.